I'm looking forward to seeing him in the future. I do think he has the tools there. He needs to put it all together. But yeah, next up, Frankie. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is this a title shot? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's next. He has had. Yeah, I really don't know what
his name is. Frankie Edgar.
I know. I don't really know. I mean, that's what else do you do with him? It doesn't make sense to put him up against Ricardo Lamas or something. So I have no idea what exactly you do with him.
The thing is, it's always been alluded to that he can make the cut to 135, but I don't think he wants to do that. Not because he can't. I think looking at his stature and his frame, and obviously, as we all know, his athleticism, I think 135 is a tough cut, but a cut that he can do nonetheless. I just think for him, he feels that he can beat Aldo. Aldo smashed them twice, maybe not smashed them, that's a bit harsh, but Aldo's certainly, convincingly beat him twice, let's say that, and yet still in his mind, he's like, no, I can beat this guy, and then he's becoming obsessed with that now. That's what I get from Frankie Edgar. I might be wrong, but I'm like you, Kyle, man. I'm just scratching my head going, he can beat everybody but Aldo, so what the fuck does he do now in this featherweight division, apart from fight guys
and Holloway would beat the shit out of him too. So,
you reckon? You think so? Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. I mean, it's interesting 100%. Times ahead for the featherweight division, no doubt. But let's move on to the welterweights. And we had Masvidal and Damian Maia. Split decision victory. And I think, is this now 7 in a row for Damian Maia? I mean, surely he's next in line for the title shot, but I think I've been saying that the last few Maia victories, to be honest. Kyle, I'll start with you in this one. Maia versus Woodley, is that what you want to see after this fight?
100%. I wasn't very excited about this fight. It wasn't that fun to watch. It's another one of those fights where, like, man, I get it. I respect BJJ and I respect the grappling and I understand. Don't listen to my recap because I was complaining a lot and I was very intoxicated. So by the time this fight came around, but no, I was not having a good time during this fight. And you knew once it goes into the third round, I'm like, anything that Masvidal has done has inflicted maybe 4 to 5 times the amount of damage than anything that Damian Maia has done. Right, but Damian Maia is going to win the fight, and probably deservingly so, because that it's not about damage. This isn't a street fight. Mm-hmm. So, I understand that. But, that wasn't that fun to watch. And my other thing is, if you guys thought Thompson-Woodley 2 was bad, well, buckle those seatbelts, because Maia Woodley is going to be a barn burner.
Hopefully, man. Kobe, what about yourself? Maia, next title challenger for you, my friend?
Yeah, I believe so, and I'm pretty sure that he said something to Dana White outside of the cage after the fight, and Dana White did give him the nod. He seems to be coming around. It appears that he will give Romero the next shot against Michael Bisping. But when speaking to this fight in particular, I did 7 years Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I absolutely love the fight. I picked Damian Maia. The X factor in this fight for me was the wrestling. We constantly talk about Damian Maia's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it's the best in the world. Not just the best in the UFC, but the best to ever do it in mixed martial arts. But it's the wrestling that gets the fight to the floor. So that, for me, was the absolute X factor. He went 4-12 on the takedown. For me, Masvidal needed to win the scrambles. When he was taken down, he needed to pop right back up, not be stuck flat on his back and have to work to get to his feet. The significant strikes were 23 for Maia, 39 for Masvidal. Many people thought that Masvidal was going to come out and piece Maia up on the feet like he did against Cowboy. Damian Maia's fight IQ is off the charts. The man has fought many, many great strikers. Yes. He is exceptionally good at closing space and getting to the clinch position and taking the fight where he wants it. Masvidal lost the wrestling component of this fight, therefore lost the competition. The judge that gave Masvidal round 1 should be fired, shot, tarred, and feathered. Maia completely controlled round 1 on Masvidal's back. He took him down. 4 minutes and change. Masvidal did finish the round strong. Maia was the clear winner. He controlled the jiu-jitsu positions. He took the fight where he wanted it. Where was this striker in Masvidal that was supposed to destroy Damian Maia? Once again, jiu-jitsu reigns supreme in the UFC. Damian Maia gets the next shot against Tyron Woodley for the welterweight title.
Wowzers. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't buying into that. And the fight that changed my mind with, hearing this, another striker is set to destroy Maia, was the Carlos Condit fight. If you can do that to Carlos Condit, I mean, it's almost like he had never learned to fight before when Maia nullified his game. Then I saw nothing different for this outcome on the Masvidal fight. 100% agree with you, Kobe. Kev, what about yourself? Maia next in line for you after this decision victory over Masvidal?
Well, I'll tell you first what my assessment of Daniel Maia, and I'll tell you what I think about that. But I think that that Cerrone fight was sticking out of my head, just as the gentleman before me said. And now I got thinking about it more. And the only factor I had going against Maia was that he's 39. If you look back at his record, I mean, he got knocked out by Marquardt years ago. That was right at the start of a fight, man. He just got caught cold. It can happen. And but you look, besides that, he's never been stopped by anybody.
Yeah, 2009.
And Marquardt was on more roids than Vitor Belfort.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say, no he was on that.
You look at the size of Maia's head. I mean, the dude can take a shot. And dude just nailed it right before me. That's exactly what he did, man. He was relentlessly going for that takedown. He was not going to stay at range. He was going to close the distance and get inside his kitchen. And for as many takedowns as he missed, he looked terrible at. He kept at it, man. And, I mean, the first round, Masvidal was, relegated to basically give him I wouldn't say piggyback ride because he wasn't really walking around the cage, but, Maia was like, hey, I'm just going to get on your back. Dude couldn't even get him off his back. He just had to stand there with him on it, man. It was all downhill from there, if you ask me. And as far as this title shot, I mean, I think last night, the fight, a lot of people are going to think that was boring, man. I wouldn't disclude myself from, if that's a word, I wouldn't say that I wasn't one of them, man. I mean, welcome to, if you're not really into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, most people don't care to watch him fight because of his style and the way he fights, man. It's a grinding affair. And that's why he has not gotten a title shot yet. And whether he gets one in this next or not, I mean, the UFC doesn't want a guy like that to be champion. And as far as if he does fight Woodley, I don't think I think Woodley can out-muscle him, and he got a lot heavier hands than a Jorge Masvidal, man. I mean, when you're taking shots like Cerrone was taking shots in that fight, and anybody's going to look good when their opponent's that open. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Tyron Woodley has sledgehammers in his hands, dude. And if anybody can put Damian Maia down, it's probably Tyron Woodley. It should be an interesting fight. I'm down to see it.
I take your point about the fans not really digging it. I heard a lot of boos and that kind of thing. But I look at the welterweight title fight, the rematch with Thompson and Woodley. Thompson's meant to be this exciting fighter that everybody loves, and those two styles, as exciting they were in the first match, it was awful. It was one of the worst main events I've ever seen. That main event. And I know I piss and moan all the time that I have to stay up here in the UK till 6 a.m, but staying up for that till 6 a.m. was brutal, right? So
they say styles make fights,
Yeah.
And I think in that fight, that fight was a good example of what style matchups are good to make bad fights. Damian Maia does have the ability to turn any fight into, when you talk about styles, he'll turn it into a throwback fight, dude. Straight up grappler versus striker. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to take you down, and that's how I'm going to get you. Beautiful thing.
Well, can I say something that's going to get a lot of people to dislike me? Certainly Kobe.
Go on.
I need more people disliking me.
I love you.
We have this.
I'm getting out the list.
We have this wonderful thing called submission grappling. That's where I want to see Damian Maia. I have no desire to watch that style in something that I think should be more combat oriented. But at the end of the day, he's operating under UFC rules. He's operating under it's a fight. That's fine. I have no problem with it. I mean,
it's not all about you, bud.
It isn't at all.
He's not wearing a gi. He's not wearing a gi, and the wrestling is a part of it. And he did land 23 significant strikes. So
that's the biggest
8 minutes, 17 seconds of control time to a minute 51. This man has laid out a blueprint. Basics win fights. Damian Maia has created a blueprint for success, and is following that thing all the way to that title.
There you go.
Well said, mate. I like it. We're going to skip Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Let's just say she successfully defended her title, continues to look dominant. But we're just a wee bit short on time, guys, so I'll move quickly to the main event before we finish up with fan questions. Miocic gets his revenge, gets the KO of JDS this time, doesn't leave it in the hands of the judges. So let's start with Kobe this time. Kobe, what did you make of Miocic's defence's title in this fight?
This was exactly what I thought was going to happen based on my analysis and preparation for this fight. With Junior Dos Santos' last performance against Ben Rothwell, I had question marks regarding the stylistic matchup. The stationary target in Ben Rothwell, often squaring up his stance, moving southpaw to orthodox. Junior Dos Santos threw 40% of his strikes to the midsection, really utilized the jab to the body well. He moved really well. He didn't get hit a lot. We know he's been through a ton of wars. Rothwell never really got off, so I wasn't convinced that this Junior Dos Santos was back. The old Junior Dos Santos that, had these wars with Cain Velasquez, that retained a world title. It didn't have me convinced. With Stipe Miocic, we've watched a fighter get better and better each fight out. And how important was it for him to run this one back? The last man that he lost to, Junior Dos Santos. I listened to this guy's podcast, and I won't say his name. I put my breakdown up like a month ago. I don't listen to any other breakdowns unless mine's completely finished and out of the way. He said he felt that Stipe Miocic has not improved since the last fight with Junior Dos Santos. That is absolutely asinine. I mean, Stipe Miocic is a confident, game-ready killer, and he showed it again last night, took a little angle, jab, then a straight cross over the top, bang, lights out Junior Dos Santos. Stipe Miocic is a special kind of tough, and he proves once again in my theory that you can't always bank on the gym. Guys will say, well, so-and-so trains at ATT or so-and-so trains at Jackson Winklejohn. I don't put a lot of stock in where a guy trains, and Stipe Miocic has been a great example of why that might be accurate. He doesn't train at a huge gym, and he's hit for me on this ride the entire time. I picked him to beat Fabricio Verdum by counterpunch, and he came through. I picked him last night to beat Junior Dos Santos. He finished early in round one. His calf might have been a little bit injured, and I think he knew he had to get Junior Dos Santos out of there. And Dos Santos again with his back against the fence. Bad habits. He's 3-3 in his last 6. Right now, Stipe Miocic is retained twice. I believe that's a record for the heavyweight division.
Yes.
Tying the record.
Tying the record.
Tying the record. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, man. It's exciting times ahead for Stipe Miocic, but the rumour is he's wanting to take a little break. I don't know how much of that's true, but Kevin, how about yourself? Your thoughts? I know we've spoke a lot about Miocic's boxing. How did you rate it in this fight, and his plan maybe going forward?
Oh, looked great. It looked great, man. I mean, I got to remind you that I called it on when you put out your pre-fight predictions.
Yes, sir.
I commented on it, man. Told you first round KO. Didn't pull the trigger on betting it, man. I don't know why. It was after you hit a big lick on Damian Maia, then why take a chance of losing? But yeah, man, Dos Santos is what if you look at the past data of after he got his ass handed to him by Cain a couple times, he is what it looks like he is, man. And anybody who thought differently hadn't been paying attention. You know what I mean? He doesn't deal well with getting hit anymore. It happens, man. Some guys they get beat down like that, they get slept a couple times, and it's just not there anymore. And I think that's what we've seen, man. You can put him in there against the Ben Rothwells and the Fat Boy Nelsons of the world, and he's gonna look great. So if he wants to keep fighting, and then everybody can keep making money, then I say go ahead and do that. If he wants to hang him up, man, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but I mean, you look like that, and the thing about the heavyweight division too, man, is you don't got to string together a whole bunch of wins to get another title shot. Stipe Miocic looked great. He has been improving. As dude said, man, I don't know who would put that on a breakdown that they thought he hadn't improved since the last fight. It was obvious that he had to me. He keeps people on the end of his punches better, and he did really. I thought Verdum had him in the first fight. I thought Alistair Overeem had him in that fight. I think taking a break is a good idea, man. If I was just telling somebody the other day about John Jones, I said, hell, if I was him, I'd wait it out and let DC fight a couple more times and wear himself out before I fought him again. Not that I think that'll make a difference in the outcome of the fight, but it's not a bad idea to take some time off, especially when you're at the world class level that Stipe Miocic is. You want to be fresh for that next fight. I mean, I'm sure he would love to be the first guy ever in the history of UFC to defend the heavyweight crown for 3 times in a row. But I'll tell you, my prediction is doesn't happen, man. Now, I know the favorite just won the Kentucky Derby.